In today's video, we are talking about why I believe the Mac Studio M1 Max is the best value Mac for filmmakers, content creators, anyone doing work with higher end video codecs that's looking to save a little bit of cash and get a desktop computer Mac. So if you're new here, my name is Jeff Fagan. If I'm just meeting you for the first time, I'm a filmmaker and DP based out of South Florida. And I actually have an M1 MacBook Air as my travel computer. That's really my only M1 Mac that I have right now, but I do use a 5K 2020 iMac. But one of the things that I've realized is, we saw this M1 we thought was going to be a Mac Mini coming in the pipeline, and it was supposed to have the internals of the newer MacBook Pros, the 14-inch and the 16-inch that were just released. And what we got was a little bit different, but definitely better than what was expected. Right here, I'm going to pull up. We have the MacBook, the Mac Studio. And what we ended up getting was we got an M1 Max version and not an M1 Pro version, but we also got the brand new M1 Ultra, which is two M1 Max chips put together. So let's pull this up here. As you look, it's starting at $2,000. And if you put the configuration side by side of the M1 Max Mac Studio compared to the M1 Max 14-inch MacBook Pro, you save around $1,100, and I'll show you in a second. But let's go over what you're getting with the different configurations of the Mac Studio. So you're getting the M1 Max. It's a 10-core CPU, 24-core GPU, 16-core neural engine. You get 32 gigabytes of unified memory, a 512 SSD drive, all for $2,000. Then the next level up, which is the base model of the M1 Ultra, is a 20-core CPU, 48-core GPU, and 32-core neural engine, coming in at $4,000. There's a few tricks you can do to get it a little bit less than $4,000, but we're not talking a lot. We're only talking a few $100s, but I'll go over that in a bit. So now let's take a look. The base model versions on both of these computers are really good. You can configure them a little bit more. Let's take a look at the base model of this M1 Max version. You can pay $200 and get it upgraded to a 32-core GPU. There is no more that they don't add any more CPU cores when you're doing another version of the M1 Max. So just be aware of that. It's pretty much all GPU. Then you see it's another $1,200 if you want to get the base model M1 Ultra with the 20-core CPU and 48-core GPU. That is a little bit of a step up there, but again, that is technically a different processor, even though it's two M1 Maxes. And then it's another $1,000 from there to get the fully unlocked version of the M1 Ultra with 20-core CPU and 64-core GPU. So it can get expensive, but I think for filmmakers, for what we're doing, a lot of people were getting the M1 Pros and having a great experience. So if you go for the base model of the Mac Studio for around $2,000, it's not a bad deal. Now, what I want to show you is the price compared to the 14-inch MacBook Pro, since that will be a little bit less expensive than the 16-inch. So you see here, it is around $2,000 for the M1 Mac Studio. And let's put in to the MacBook Pros. So we're here on the MacBook Pro page. Let me make sure that it's still up here. Yep. So we have the MacBook Pros. This is the 14-inch. If you want to go for, let's do the M1 Max. So that's another $200. So we're already at $3,100. We're at 32 gigabytes of unified memory. And now they only let you get 1 terabyte. So it is a little bit more on the storage side, on the SSD side, than on the Mac Studio. You get 512 there. But already we're at $3,100. So by going the Mac Studio route, you do save $1,100 and you get the same performance of this $3,100 computer. And that's why filmmakers like me who have a great travel computer that doesn't need to be super crazy, we want a desktop. And so for the same amount of money of getting this, M1 Max MacBook Pro 14-inch, I can have an M1 a MacBook Air, which I love. I've done many videos on the channel about it. I've done full reviews and talked about how to get increased performance out of it. I have links in the description below if you haven't seen those videos. I would definitely take a look if you're if you're looking for an M1 MacBook Air, the base model version. But as a desktop, I think the M1 Max, the base model of the Mac Studio, I think it is going to work amazing, especially I can basically sell my 2020 M1 my 2025K iMac. That's pretty decently spec'd. I can sell that and pretty much transition it right in to an M1 Max with maybe like spend an extra few $100s. And I will at some point. But another thing I want to bring up, let's go back to the shipping times. And this is why I'm not going to go get one right now. I'm not in a crazy rush. I'm not in a crazy rush to go like pick it up. But I will get it at some point. So let's take a look. If you want to get the very base model M1 Max Mac Studio, you're looking at in the beginning of next month. So you're looking at April 7th to April 14th. Let's go over here. So yes, you're looking at April 7th to April 14th. If you start changing the configurations, you'll notice that changes. So if you want to get the better version of the M1 Max a little bit more unlocked, you're looking at May. So you're looking at almost a 2-month wait. If you play with it, go up to this version of the M1 Max. Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong page. Continue. Sorry about that, guys. It's a problem with doing these live streams. You mess up live. All right, so we're now on the Mac Studio. So this is April 7th to April 14th for the base model Mac Studio. Then we go up, and it's actually the same. You want to go for the M1 Ultra. It's going to be the end of April now. You want to go for the fully unlocked M1 Ultra. You're actually going to get it in the beginning of April. So it depends on kind of the configurations that you want when it'll come out. If you want 128 gigabytes of RAM, it's going to be in the beginning to end of May. That's a pretty big gap. Me personally, I don't think I'd ever need 128 gigs in this computer. But you never know. Some people may. I don't necessarily recommend it, especially for that $800 price jump. But yeah, so if you want the very base model, you're looking at, it kept all my configurations right there. But the very base model is April 7th to April 14th. So it's a little bit over a month from now. I'm not in a super rush. I can wait until they're commercially available to where when I can just, order one, pick it up. Even if I wait 6 months, I'm willing to, but I know that this is the computer I'm going to go for because it is the best value. Especially, they were talking about how although the M1 Ultra is 80% more powerful than the most recent Mac Pro, according to Apple, which we'll see where those specs really come in when people get their hands on one. But they say it's 80% faster. Even if it is, they're not getting rid of the Mac Pros. They are going to come out with the Mac Pro. But with what they did with the Mac Studio, I don't even know if I'm a Mac Pro customer. I think, you're getting really into specialty right there. To specialty uses, a lot of special effects work, CGI. I think a lot of those artists are going to want those. And I think those are also the kinds of people who right now are probably going to go for this M1 Ultra Mac Studio. It's definitely way more horsepower than someone like me needs. And for the money, you're saving around $1,100 going for the base model Mac Studio if you get the M1 Max version. So I do highly recommend it. I will be going for it, like I said. Now, one thing I do want to mention is I am live. Scott's here. Hey, what's going on, Scott? He finds the Ultra price a little disappointing. Yeah, I agree. The upgrade price is a lot. And, I think that the market for the M1 Ultra is definitely going to be someone who's more of a power user than I am, for sure. Because, Scott, very well, I can use an M1 MacBook Air, and although it's not perfect by any means, I can get some bass edits done. I obviously can do that on my 2025K Intel iMac, but this is a lot of power for the money. I find that $2,000 compared to the $1,100, I think you're getting a great deal. I think the key is going to be how soon do you need it? If you need it now, I'd probably put the pre-order in, because I think once people realize kind of the price savings you're going to have on this Mac Studio, the M1 Max version, I think they're going to be a little difficult to find if we keep this shortage going, or at least hard to get in the short term, kind of like the Komodo was. So yeah, I do think that the M1 Max Studio is the best value for the money. So I wanted to do this live today to kind of test everything out. I'm actually using my M1 MacBook Pro, and I've only used it a few times. So I wanted to make sure that everything was working on that. A few things coming up on the channel. I actually did pick up a Canon R6, got rid of some of my Blackmagic cameras, so I can do some more, let's say, I don't want to necessarily say only content creator type stuff, although I do plan on doing that, but I wanted to start doing some more event work that my Blackmagics just weren't cutting it for. And plus the Komodo, I tried using it. I don't know if everyone on the channel knows this. I was working for Grant Cardone for a bit, and we were using the Sony FX3s, and the autofocus on those cameras are just amazing. So although I didn't pick up a Sony, I did pick up an R6, and I've been using it for the past few weeks, and there will be content coming soon using the R6, and I did get it because it does share the lens mount with Komodo, and I can share a lot of lenses and accessories, and it makes a lot of sense. So stay tuned. If you guys have any questions and you weren't here for the live part of this video, please make sure to put them in the comments below. And if you got knowledge out of today's video, please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to keep up to date with the latest videos on the channel. And Scott's telling pre-orders are well over 10 weeks out. Yeah, that's why I was pulling up the dates and letting you know, like, you know, if you need it now, you need to go pick this thing up. And if you don't need it now, just be prepared that the wait may be for a little while. I'm going to be one of those people that are waiting just because I don't need it right now. But, you know, everyone has a different use case for what they need their computer for and where they're at with their current computer. So thank you again, everyone, for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Let's StreamYard, trying to figure out where my thing is. There we go. All right. Have a good one, everybody.